From consuming podcasts, to taking online courses, to absorbing digital books, people are hungry for the abundant knowledge all around them. Let me show you how to take advantage of this golden opportunity to establish a long-lasting passive income stream that you can expand on your own terms. This video will show you how to find less saturated niches, the AI prompts that help write your ebook, free Canva design covers, and how to maneuver Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing, for short Amazon KDP. And thanks to AI, you can start completely for free with very little effort and maintenance required. To reduce your effort even more, I've assembled a PDF containing all prompts and priming inputs used in this video to get the most human-like results. Get it for free by using the link in the video description below. Now, why did we choose this strategy? Because AI ebooks are the ultimate low-effort play going into 2026. They're 100% digital, no printing, shipping or stock. Once live, they sell 24/7 through platform algorithms, and AI tools like ChatGPT handle 80 to 90% of writing, which cuts down the creation time from weeks to hours. Let's compare this to two other popular online money-making methods, dropshipping and freelance work. Dropshipping requires paying for tools as well as sourcing from and maintaining relationships with overseas distributors, so you constantly have to stay active. While freelancing firstly requires you to invest time and money into a skill, and you can simply outsource most of the work to AI. Why did we actually choose to go with Amazon KDP? Just look at this graph. More than 2/3 of all ebook sales here, specifically in the US, happen on Amazon. That is not to say that you cannot go onto these other platforms, but to start out, it makes sense to go with the biggest one. Firstly, you have to nail your niche, since that sets you up for success or failure. Avoid saturated romance or general self-help, and instead go into sub-niches with demand higher than 1000 monthly searches, but below 500 competing books. I'll show you how to do that. A good example of going too generic would be yoga for men, where a good sub-niche would be, for example, yoga for men over 50, preventing cancer with easy daily exercises. As a side note, we're starting to actively prime our AI to behave according to proven copywriting rules. If you don't know what copywriting means, it simply means selling with written words. This leads to higher converting outputs and helps us stand out from purely AI created generic content that does get flagged by Amazon regularly. Now, while I am using ChatGPT for this example, it doesn't really matter which one you use, as long as you give it these prompts and let it know how to operate properly. So we're gonna start out with, you're going to help me write an informative and objective ebook chapter by chapter. We'll create a target audience avatar and craft the solutions described in the ebook around their strengths and weaknesses. For example, people in their 50s having lots of life experience and therefore greater intuition, while people in their 20s are, for example, more tech savvy. You will also be fed with copywriting knowledge, and I want you to keep all of this in mind throughout. Are you ready? Next, if you're unsure of what kind of main topic you want to go with, this is the way I would advise you to do it. Here, the prompt to start out, I need the specific main keyword topic that the ebook will revolve around. Give me 20 niche ideas for ebooks that sell profitably, and break down each one into 3 sub-niche ideas. Alright, it gave us a few great ones. For example, intermittent fasting for women over 40, or investing in real estate with little capital. Don't worry that it's a bit generic for the beginning. We're gonna expand on this in a bit for the title and everything following afterwards. Once you found a couple of sub-niches that you want to work with, the next thing to do is verify those ideas. For that, we're obviously going to use Amazon.com, but first we're also going to use a Google Chrome plugin called DS Amazon Quick View. So if you have a Google Chrome based browser like me using Brave, I can go to my menu right here, then to extensions and visit the web store and simply enter DS Amazon Quick View, and it's already there. Also make sure that you're not using a private browser, because otherwise you cannot install plugins. So now that DS Amazon Quick View is installed, you can see right here whenever you search for your specific niche and look at the bestseller, it now has a ranking in here. This is number 90,927 of the bestsellers overall on Amazon. And what you want to look for is the bestseller being between 50 to 100,000. The lower the number, the higher the actual amount of sales is going to be. Therefore, since this is sitting comfortably below 100,000 BSR rating, we can assume that just this one single ebook sells for about $500 per month, just in its Kindle form. We're not talking about paperback here, since we're only talking about ebooks for this specific video. And also there's an optional step where you can take it even further by using the paid tool called BookBeam, which actually shows the number of sales per day and the royalties and dollars that they make, but it's not really necessary. What you can really focus on is just simply look at the bestseller, and if it's between 50 to 100,000 is gonna be a great starting point. The next step is to give our AI the highest chances at putting out great content. What we're gonna do for that is some very simple competitor analysis. So there are two methods you can use. First of all, go into read sample and then scroll down to the outline. Skim through it as well as the subpoints and compare this later on with your AI output, and if something is missing, include it in that case. Otherwise, step 2 is simply scrolling down to the customer reviews and seeing if there's anything that stands out to those people. For example, here they say it's great for writing a business plan, or for example, this customer learned that even without enough business skills they can succeed as an entrepreneur by simply starting. So note these kinds of things down and use them later on. Since I found the sub niche that I want to work on, validated it with Amazon, as well as did some competitor analysis, I'm now ready to start creating the target avatar as well as focusing on the 5 biggest problems, which are gonna help the AI create this ebook. So for that, back inside of ChatGPT, I input this prompt. I will use my niche, so AI tools for small business owners. This is why I want you to create a target avatar, gender, example name, age, family situation, job, their previous experience or lack thereof with the topic, what they tried to solve it in the past and what didn't work. Also add what you deem useful, and at the end focus on the 5 biggest problems they are trying to solve by buying this ebook. This is giving us some great insight into what kind of mentality and what kind of situation a person looking to buy this book would be like. For example, here, Lisa Martinez, 47 years old, married, 2 kids, and she owns a small marketing agency. Now, what we're going to focus on are the biggest problems right here. For example, time overload, scaling without hiring more people, client communication, marketing consistency, and decision-making support. These are all great problems that I agree with. In your case, always make sure to check, do you agree with these problems? Maybe should ChatGPT add or remove some things? These problems will be the basis for your ebook, because the next step is for ChatGPT to create a 10-chapter outline for our niche right here, so AI tools for small business owners with the subheadings, and making sure to focus on direct solutions to these 5 problems right here, as well as inputting our gained knowledge from the previous competitor analysis, whatever that may be for your case. This again is a great starting point, but what we're gonna do now is open a Google Doc and then simply copy paste our outline into there. And now you can start to actively refine this outline. Also, here's an overview of ideas that you can start out in with high demand and low saturation, based on lower than 1K results, but with a bestseller rating below 50,000. Side note, you can also focus on low content journals for the easiest entry. These few title examples have very distinct differences that'll affect the sales of your ebook drastically. Simply put, the clearer you can be in your title addressing their problems and the solutions they look for, the more likely they are to buy. For example, here looking at generic, how to lose weight fast, and compare that with 2 formulas we're gonna get to in a minute. How to lose weight fast on a budget. Address unhealthy habits and cravings to stay slim with affordable whole foods and daily walking plans. This is why we use firstly the problem result system formula. So problem meaning the core issue, result the expected outcome, and system the method used, in connection with the big 4 emotional levers, for short NESB. New triggers curiosity and hope, easy removes friction and their insecurity, safe calms skepticism, and big leads to excitement as well as urgency. So here's the prompt we're gonna use. Create 5 book title and subtitles following these 2 principles, meaning the PRS formula we just touched on as well as NESB. Also make the title easy to understand, include the main keyword, so in our case it's AI tools for small business owners, and clarify further according to PRS and NESB in the subtitle. Also make sure that the title is a maximum of 180 characters long, because Amazon KDP limits it to 200, which leaves us room to adapt if necessary. Also it needs to follow title case, meaning each new word starts with a big letter and is formatted like this. For us here it would be AI tools for business owners, for example age 40, and then the subtitle according to PRS and NESB. and again some great results following the specific rules we gave it. This one is pretty great. AI tools for small business owners, how to 10x your productivity in 30 days with no tech skills required. And here it also shows you a breakdown of the PRS it gave in each example. Now on to creating the actual contents of each chapter. For that we're gonna pry ChatGPT again with, before we can start writing, I need you to fully understand who the target audience is, refocus on the problems we're solving, and how to ultimately get prospects to buy. So imagine you're the friend of that previously created target avatar with very similar circumstances. You're giving them advice about the exact same issue or issues you had and how you were able to fix them using the contents inside of the book. So understanding the situation of this target prospect is necessary for context, since that'll make it most relatable to all of the target audience. However, don't forget to keep this book first and foremost objective and informational, with very few personal anecdotes in between. Then it gives us a bit of feedback, and now we can actually start. In your case, you might have changed something, and in that case you would put it in here. Otherwise, the prompt goes as follows. Using the outline we decided on, let's start with the introduction. So you have your title from the outline, up to 500 words, making it engaging, focus on easy to understand actionable steps, and written in a first person tone, as well as using no emojis. That looks great for a first start. Let's put that into our Google Doc. Again, make sure to edit whatever you deem necessary. At the end of the day, AI is not gonna get it perfect, but this gives you a great basis and you can adapt it to your liking. Also, if you have any feedback for how ChatGPT should adapt its writing, make sure to put it in between. And then going on to the next chapter, increasing the word limit to 1,000. So again, same principle. After it's written, simply copy paste the entire thing and continue with the next one. And it's following the exact structure that it had before. So here, for example, the 80-20 rule, free versus paid tools and things like that. And adapt it to your liking. And with just a bit of work, our table of contents now looks a bit more presentable and it's formatted in a way that works. And again, the rest of the editing is up to you. If you want to, you can go back to your competitors and maybe see how they formatted their own books. You can also use free images from, for example, unsplash.com to include inside of your ebook to make it stand out a bit more. The important part to keep in mind here is to keep it simple, make sure there are no obvious and easily fixable mistakes like grammar or formatting, and a good mix between the words that ChatGPT gave you compared to editing with your own words should be 70-30, meaning 70% is created by AI and you've edited around 30% of the entire book to make it feel like it was written by a human. The next step is creating your cover. Your cover and your title are the two main things that are gonna draw in any potential buyers, so it needs to be clean but also informational and straight to the point. There are 3 ways you can go about creating your cover. Number 1 is creating a free canva.com account, then pressing on create and custom size. The important part is to go with a width of 1600 pixels and a height of 2560 pixels, since this is going to be the standard size for Amazon's KDP listings. You can now search for specific templates. For example, for me, I took the AI cover template, and then also make sure not to pick one with a crown in the bottom right, because that require a paid account. This one is relatively simple. It has a picture in the background and text you can change right here. So with a few small adaptations, we now have our cover, including our book title, our subtitle, and our name. So go to Share, Download, select JPEG, and press Download. Next up, we have to adapt our cover in order to put it into our Google Doc right here. Back in Canva, scroll down a bit, and here on the Add page, press on the small arrow. Then on More and Custom Size, go to millimeters and input a width of 210 and height of 297. Create new page, and now an easy step to copy all of the items from our first page onto the second is by pressing on Mac Option 1, and on a Windows machine it would be Alt and 1. Then you have all of your items right here, and what you can do is click on one, hold Shift, press on the last one, copy them, then paste them down here. You're gonna still, while having them selected, move them to the middle of this, hold Option again or Alt, and drag the arrow. Now, when we scroll in a bit, we have our fitting design right here. Go to Share in the top right, Download, only select the specific page 2 that we want. As for the file type, we can leave it on PNG for higher resolution. If you have already quite a few pictures and images inside of your Google Doc, then it might make sense to choose JPEG. I'm gonna use PNG and then download. Back in our Google Doc, go to Insert and choose your image. When selected, press on Behind Text down here, and then instead of Move with Text, fix Position on Page, and then you can move it to the top left corner and drag it down. Also make sure to adapt here at the bottom if there was something messed up. And now we have our cover page along with the rest of our ebook. Option number 2 is to again use AI to create that image that you want. So here, for example, create an attention-grabbing 9:16 image for an ebook cover about the topic AI for small business owners with inviting colors, and you can add whatever you want for your specific use case. As you can see, after waiting a bit on the free version of ChatGPT, it gave us a pretty good result with AI for small business owners. The third method is simply going back to Amazon and looking at your competitors' covers. Don't copy it exactly, but use it as inspiration. What kind of colors, what kind of fonts you want to use, and go from there. And finally, publishing the ebook on Amazon KDP. Go to kdp.amazon.com and sign up. Then go to your account, enter all your legal details, and then also input all of your bank details and tax information in order to get paid. Back on the main page, click Create New Title or Series, select Kindle ebook, select the language you chose. We're gonna go with English for this video since we're mainly focusing on the US market. Then input your book title, skip series for now, the edition number you can also skip, the primary author, which is yourself, contributors if you have any, and then here's going to be the description that people are going to see when they are on your book right here. This is the description. So I just quickly came up with this prompt: write a quick summary description for Amazon KDP, maximum 4,000 characters, but keep it well below that. Put that in and edit it to your liking. Then the publishing rights, this is your own copyright, so it's yours to do. Primary audience is not sexually explicit. The reading age you can technically skip over, but if you have books, for example, meant for children, then it makes sense to maybe put in age 6 to 10, something like that. Primary marketplace, Amazon.com. Now the category is gonna help Amazon place the book in front of the perfect audience for you, and for that you're gonna have a look again at the biggest problems that your target avatar has. So time overload, so time management, hiring more people, communication, marketing consistencies. So you can select any of the categories that will help you connect it with the biggest problems that they're trying to solve. So let's go for time management. So we're going to business and money, and then a subcategory, organizational behavior and organizational learning. And you can add another category. So let's do that. Let's go to business and money. Go to marketing and sales, customer relations, which fits well with customer communication. And then let's add a third category, again under business and money. And then management and leadership, and AI can, for example, help with planning and forecasting. All right, and now we have our 3 categories selected. Save those categories, and now we have our keywords to put in. So these are search engine optimization search terms that people will put in inside of Amazon in order to land on your book. So give me 7 unique keywords that I can use on Amazon KDP for this book, and I input the title along with the chapter outline. Alright, keywords are in. Pre-order is not necessary since it's an ebook, and we press save and continue. Now we have to upload our manuscript. Just go to File, Download, and select EPUB Publication. Alright, apply digital rights management. Now as for our cover, we won't create one right here, but we can upload our JPEG from earlier. While that's processing, we can continue. Now I would recommend leaving AI generated content on no, and you can use the previewer if you want to. There is no ISBN. Finally, for accessibility, click none of the informative images, include alternative text and or extended description, and press save and continue. As for the royalty, select 70% and then input whichever price you want. I put in $4.99. If you input your account information correctly here at the bottom, you won't have this, and then you can publish your Kindle ebook. And now you can start generating passive income. Now you can actually extract more money from this one single ebook that you created by number one, using these other markets as well, like Apple iBooks and Kobo for example. Number two, turning it into an audiobook using something like, for example, 11 Labs, where you input text and it creates AI voice out of it. Obviously this is going to be paid, but this is up to you. And thirdly, translating it into other languages and publishing it again afterwards. You can use something like deepl.com, which is great at translation, and you can directly get out PDF documents, which you can then in turn again publish on Amazon KDP.